years ago, when I started jiu-jitsu, in 1989 and through the early 90s, I had martial artist disease, which is, so in the gun world, if we fail, we're shooting a course, we're shooting a competition, and we screw up, the answer is always, I need a new gun, I need new sights, I need a new trigger, I need new ammo, I need new holster, whatever. Gear fixes the problem. Well, in the martial art world, we have the same exact thing, only instead of gear, it's technique. This technique failed, give me a new technique. It's not me. I obviously didn't fail. The technique failed. Well, no, it's you. It's not the gun, it's you. It's not the technique, it's you. But it's very hard to understand that. So I don't have any natural physical gifts. I'm learning jiu-jitsu, and this is in the Jurassic period with no internet. We didn't have DVDs. We didn't have the easy access. Maybe there's a couple magazine articles or something. And I would get escapes from the bottom from my instructor. Well, here's an escape from the mountain. Here's an escape from side control. Here's an escape from north-south. And they'd all work. They'd all work at sometimes, and they'd all fail at sometimes. Sometimes they'd work against this guy, and then the next week they wouldn't. And then 2 weeks later, they'd work again. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's the same technique. What's going on? Well, obviously, it's not me. It was more technique. Professor Megaton, give me new techniques. And so I just collect. And anytime there was a new article in the magazine on it, I collect that. Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. So eventually, at some point, I had 400 escapes from the bottom. The problem with that is there's no way under stress you're going to remember that. I don't care who you are. I don't care how great you are. You're not going to remember all of that. So I try and I'm trying and I'm failing. So I had this one of my first epiphanies, one of the first lucky things I ever did, totally by accident. I said, look, I can't remember all these techniques. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 4 of them, and I'm just going to work them really hard. So I went back through my notebooks, and I started looking, well, which one should I pick? What are the ones that seem to work the best for me? So I go through it, and all of a sudden I started realizing, wait a minute, this technique is kind of like this one. This technique is like this one. Wait a minute. There's a lot of similarities. There's just a slight tweak on this one versus this one. Well, wait a minute. So then I started going through all the techniques. And I started seeing those similar points all the way through. And I had this revelation. Oh, most of the techniques are the same. The variations are based on, he might be holding you slightly different. The knee might be out slightly different. But instead of trying to remember all these things and apply them in the heat of the moment, oh, there's this shift this way, it's this. I realized that there's a base behind all of them. I liken it to learning compound words when you're a kid. So whatever grade you're in, 2nd, 3rd grade, your English teacher is not teaching you every compound word in the English language. What they do is they go, well, what's a compound word? Well, it's made up of a prefix, it's made up of a root word, and it's made up of a suffix. And here's an example. Here's all the prefixes. Here's all the suffixes. Here's how they work together. And here's a handful of examples. Uncomplicated, impossible, whatever. And you learn how to understand what makes up a compound word. So then, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line, you read a book, read something, and you come up with a new word. You see a new word you've never seen before, but you understand, well, the prefix means this, and the compound, oh, it means this is what this word means. You can figure it out for yourself. So that's how I come up with the escape formula. Our prefix is survival position. It's the same one. It's what keeps us in the fight. It keeps us conscious. It keeps us mobile. The root word, the root is space. I need space. The root of everything has to be, I have to have the space to do whatever I need to do. The suffix is always one of 2 things. Either I'm going to drive to guard or I'm going to drive to my knees. I'm getting out of this inferior position. I've survived long enough. I get enough space and I drive to guard or I drive to my knees. at least neutral. Theoretically, there's the idea of a reversal. Like I said before with talking about the in-fight intent triage. There's the idea possibly where I can go from an inferior position and completely reverse it against a superior. Yeah, it can happen, rarely, and it's not something to bet your life on. But what you can bet on is going from inferior to neutral, driving to guard, driving to knees. So we've got this process. I know, here's the prefix. I'm in survival position, it's pretty simple. Create space. And then we have different ways of creating space. The main ones are hip lift and hip escape. And then once I have enough space, drive to guard or drive to knees. Now I'm in neutral, and now we can start a different aspect of the fight. I can start to fight back. I can have some offense. So I'm no longer in that inferior position. But now it doesn't matter. The escape formula is not mount escape formula. It's not side control escape formula. It's for everything. It doesn't matter. Survival position works when the guy's on top. I got to create space. Hip lift and hip escape works no matter he's north-south, knee on belly, reverse Kesagatami. Doesn't matter. I'm going to create space the same way. And drive to guard, drive to knees, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what position he's in. Those are my end states no matter what.